Hi guys, JT here, and today I'm bringing you some information on the Humble Bundle Microids Mega Mix 2025 bundle of October 2025. To help you answer the question, should you buy it? By using the links in the description below, you'll gain access to this bundle and support the channel in the process. Before I begin, I'd like to thank you the viewers for watching my silly videos. I hope they're helpful. Most importantly, knowing that you're watching it means the world. Anyway, let's get into this. And number 1 we have Amerzone, The Explorer's Legacy. In this game, you take on the role of a journalist on a quest to save a rare and mysterious species of bird. This unique adventure game combines traditional puzzle mechanics with a fresh goal not typically found in video games. Developed by Microids, the same team that created the popular Syberia series, Amerzone features a blend of fact and fiction to create an immersive and atmospheric experience. Set in the early 1990s, the game follows in the footsteps of explorer Alexandre Villebois, who was discredited after a failed expedition into the Amerzone region in 1932. He enlists you to prove the existence of the white birds and redeem his reputation. The game is filled with other strange and colorful flora and fauna, presented through the exploration journal of Alexandre. As you explore the unique location of the Amerzone, you'll encounter individual screens that you can interact with and collect items from. These items can be used to unlock new content for your story path or to keep the Hydrofloat vehicle operational, which is your primary means of travel. Puzzle aspects are a major part of the game, with a focus on item collecting and environmental puzzles. Overall, Amerzone, The Explorer's Legacy offers an interesting story and plot, great character development, and plenty of puzzle variety. Its blend of real and imagined elements, along with its connections to the Syberia franchise, make it a classic adventure game that is worth exploring. And number 2 we have Little Big Adventure Twinsens Quest, a remake of the 1994 cult classic adventure game that follows Twinsen, a quiet dreamer living on the planet of Twin Sun. When the tyrannical Dr. Van Frok takes control of his clone army, you're thrust into an old-school adventure full of quirky charm, awkward combat, and moments of pure nostalgia. The remake adds new story elements, including Twinsen's younger sister, Luna, giving you a stronger emotional reason to rise against Van Frok's rule. The world of Twin Sun feels alive and varied, with distinct regions and species that still capture the magic of the original. You'll talk to eccentric NPCs, stumble into ancient temples, and piece together the planet's mysteries. But pacing can feel random, and progression often relies on chatting with every character you find. Gameplay-wise, free movement replaces the tank controls, making exploration smoother. Unfortunately, the beloved mood system, where you switch between stealth, aggressive, or athletic modes, is gone, stripping away a bit of personality. Combat remains clunky, with Twinsen's magic sphere feeling underpowered against gun-wielding enemies. Visually, the remake modernizes the environments beautifully, though cutscenes can look oddly cheap compared to the retro CGI charm of the original. What hasn't changed is the phenomenal soundtrack. Philippe Vacher's re-recorded score brings waves of nostalgia and atmosphere to every area. Twinsens Quest is a faithful yet flawed return. You'll love it if you grew up with the original, but newer players may struggle to see its appeal. It is a nostalgic trip worth taking. Just expect some rough edges. And number 3 we have UFO Robot GRENDIZER, The Feast of the Wolves, a semi-open world action adventure based on the 1970s anime UFO robot GRENDIZER. You play as Duke Fleed, a prince who escapes his destroyed home planet and pilots the mighty GRENDIZER to defend Earth from the invading Vega Empire. The story throws you straight into the chaos, offering just enough cheesy anime flair to keep you smiling even when you're totally lost. Visually, the game captures the retro-futuristic 70s aesthetic perfectly. Massive space stations, colorful alien landscapes, and gloriously chunky mechs. Unfortunately, technical issues like screen tearing, pop-in, and janky camera angles can pull you out of the experience. The voice acting also misses the mark, with Duke sounding oddly emotionless compared to the dramatic energy you expect from the source material. Combat is simple but satisfying, letting you smash through waves of enemies using GRENDIZER's heavy punches, beam attacks, and special moves. It is not complex, but it nails that PS2 era charm where you can just switch your brain off and enjoy the chaos. Between battles, you can explore different regions, collect upgrades, and even take to the skies in shoot-'em-up segments that help mix up the pacing, even if they're pretty basic. Despite its flaws, The Feast of the Wolves is an honest and nostalgic love letter to a forgotten anime icon. You'll find a fun, old-school romp that doesn't take itself too seriously. Perfect for when you just want to pilot a giant robot and punch evil aliens into dust. And number 4 we have Totally Spies Cyber Mission, a colourful family-friendly puzzle adventure. You follow the iconic trio Sam, Clover and Alex as they move to Singapore and face a new cyber threat spreading chaos through the city. Using an ice spray, bubble gun and other spy gadgets, you'll sneak, puzzle solve and outwit enemies to restore order across a series of lively missions. The game plays from a top-down perspective with clear objectives and simple mechanics designed for younger players. A guiding light helps kids find their next task, while older players can disable it for a small challenge boost. Across 5 missions, you'll flip switches, move boxes, push buttons, and occasionally tackle short boss fights. The puzzles never evolve much, but for children, their simplicity feels just right. Visually, Cyber Mission offers a bright, cartoonish world that captures the style of the show, though repeated assets and basic textures make it feel dated. The cheerful color palette works well enough to keep things engaging. The biggest drawback, however, is the audio. Expect grating one-liners and voice clips that'll make you reach for the mute button fast. Controls are responsive and easy to learn, making it perfect for co-op play with up to 3 players. Hitting collectibles and upgrade blueprints add some replay value for completionists. Totally Spies Cyber Mission isn't built for adults, but if you're looking for a safe, fun, and cooperative game for your kids, you'll find plenty of charm beneath its simplicity. And number 5 we have Flint, Treasure of Oblivion, a strategy RPG set before Treasure Island, following the notorious Captain Flint during the golden age of piracy. You'll find all the swashbuckling tropes you could ask for, betrayals, parrots, peglegs, and rum-filled chaos. But while the story delivers the pirate fantasy, the gameplay buries it under layers of confusion. Played from an isometric perspective, the game mixes turn-based strategy with card collection and dice rolling mechanics. On paper, this could make for technical depth, but in practice, it just feels random. You'll roll dice for every action, watch flashy animations, and often win or lose battles without understanding how or why. The tutorials do little to clarify how these systems connect, leaving you guessing your way through combat. The comic book style storytelling, complete with hand-drawn panels and speech bubbles, is visually striking and evokes a nostalgic Comic Zone vibe. The art direction captures the pirate atmosphere beautifully, even if the gameplay doesn't keep up. Unfortunately, poor signposting and frequent frame rate dips turn exploration into a chore. You'll wander through linear levels clicking aimlessly for interactions, wishing the game gave clearer direction. Despite its charm and visual flair, Flint, Treasure of Oblivion feels unfinished and unpolished. There's a treasure buried deep within this chaotic sea of ideas, but without better structure, smoother performance, and proper guidance, you'll never quite dig it up. For now, the gold remains lost beneath the waves. And number 6 we have Flashback II, a broken, painful reminder that nostalgia alone can't save a bad game. You step into the shoes of Conrad B. Hart in a neon-drenched cyberpunk city, hunting for your kidnapped friend, but you'll spend more time fighting the game itself than any enemy. Within hours, you'll encounter broken save systems, glitched lifts, unresponsive guns, and softlocks galore. It is so unstable that reaching the end feels like a miracle, not an achievement. Even when the game technically works, it barely functions as entertainment. The combat is clumsy, camera angles fight your every move, and the supposed puzzles are little more than talk to this NPC, get the code, open the door. Platforming is sluggish, movement sticky, and the mix of 2D and 3D navigation only makes things worse. You will constantly snag on furniture, lose sight of enemies, and curse the camera's refusal to cooperate. The writing doesn't help either. Conrad's dialogue feels ripped straight from bargain bin 90s cartoon, full of cheesy one-liners and forced attitude. The world itself might look atmospheric at a glance, glowing signs, moody synths, but stare too long and you'll see the blur of unfinished textures and hollow design. Technical performance is dire, with stutters, bugs, and laughably limited settings. Flashback 2 is not just a disappointing sequel, it is a cautionary tale. Every broken save, every clunky fight, every lazy joke reminds you that this is not a flashback to gaming's glory days, but to its worst mistakes. Do yourself a favor, and don't play it. At number 7 we have Noob, the Factionless, a homage to the classic JRPG genre. This game is a love letter to the old JRPGs you grew up playing, filled with nostalgic references and a rich, engaging world. In Noob the Factionless, you follow the story of Adam and Martin, two aspiring esport gamers. After meeting Max Middle, they dive into Horizon 4.2, a game within the game, where their journey to reach level 100 begins. The narrative intricately weaves between the real world and the fantasy world of Horizon 4.2, adding layers to the storytelling. The game's mechanics are straightforward yet enjoyable, capturing the essence of traditional JRPGs. You'll assemble a party with Martin as Baster, a versatile neo-magician, Adam as Drek, a formidable berserker, Sarah as May, a complex cartomancer, and Leo as Log, a versatile elementalist. Each character's subclass adds depth to the gameplay, allowing you to tailor their abilities to suit your strategy. Visually, Noob the Factionless excels with its nostalgic pixel art style and dynamic environments. The art style, reminiscent of old-school JRPGs, adds a layer of charm and familiarity. The game's soundtrack, a mix of modernized old sound effects and semi-orchestral music, enhances the immersive experience, evoking a sense of nostalgia. One downside is the lack of clear map markers, which can make navigation confusing. However, the game's world map aids in finding your way. Side quests, though sometimes tedious, reward you with valuable XP and items. Noob the Factionless is a delightful tribute to classic JRPGs. Despite minor navigation issues, its engaging story, nostalgic visuals, and well-designed gameplay make it a must-play for fans of the genre. Dive into this adventure and relive the magic of the JRPGs you loved. At number 8 we have Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express. This game brings Hercule Poirot's classic case to life with a modern twist. Microids Studio updates the famous detective story to 2023, complete with cell phones and new challenges. You'll step into Poirot's shoes, examining evidence, interrogating suspects, and piecing together clues with a mind map system that turns your deductions into clear steps, making the mystery more accessible and engaging. The game captures the elegance of the Orient Express with detailed 3D environments, lavish dining cars, cozy cabins, and the hum of the train's movement. Poirot's journey becomes a scenic, interactive experience as you explore each corner of the train, solve puzzles, and encounter a cast of characters, like a Russian princess, a businessman, a colonel, and more, each with secrets waiting to be uncovered. Gameplay balances puzzles, observation, and deduction without the stress of failure, allowing you to retry answers until you get it right. There is also an intriguing new character, Joanne Locke, adding flashback sequences that reveal layers to the mystery. While the linearity and occasional hand-holding may feel restrictive, it is perfect for those who enjoy a smooth, story-driven experience. This game might be light on difficulty for veteran puzzle solvers, but its rich storytelling, immersive visuals, and faithful expansion of Christie's work make it a captivating journey for any fan of classic mysteries. At number 9 we have Syberia: The World Before, a graphic adventure game. You step into the role of Kate Walker, an investigative drifter with an insatiable curiosity for unraveling mysteries. The game's core appeal lies in its hands-on approach to intricate puzzles and detailed interactions with mechanical contraptions. The plot unfolds across 2 timelines, as Kate investigates the mysterious death of a girl resembling her in 2005, and players also control the young girl Dana Rose in pre-war Central Europe. The quaint town of Vegan, set in a fictional country between Germany and Switzerland, provides a well-preserved backdrop for the narrative, complete with ornate automatons and clockwork technology. The game's strength lies in its tactile puzzles, emphasizing experimentation with mechanisms and tests of comprehension. The puzzles are grounded and detail-oriented, avoiding the obscurity often found in classic point-and-click adventures. Interacting with inventions and ordinary objects involves point, click, drag, turn, dial, and shove actions, creating a more engaging and realistic puzzle-solving experience. The story's pacing is deliberate, allowing players to observe and comprehend the world, emphasizing curiosity over haste. The game weaves together the stories of Kate and Dana, providing intimate character development and a tightly plotted mystery. While the production values may lack polish, with occasional stiffness in character animations and uneven voice acting, the overall visual appeal captures the evolution of vegan scenery. The script occasionally introduces clunky exposition, and some story elements, including an alternate World War II scenario, may feel vague and forced. Despite these shortcomings, Syberia: The World Before stands out with its compelling plot, inventive puzzles, and strong protagonists. The game's heart lies in the human stories, particularly Kate's curiosity and longing for meaning, making it a worthwhile adventure for genre enthusiasts. At number 10 we have Horse Tales: Emerald Valley Ranch, an open-world horse adventure where you inherit a rundown ranch and must rebuild it into a thriving stable. You'll explore a beautiful countryside, race, breed horses, and take on quests, all while soaking in some surprisingly peaceful, cozy vibes. It sounds like another throwaway horse simulator, but this one actually rides ahead of the herd. You begin by learning that your Aunt Josephine is not dead, just off on holiday, drinking and chasing boys, and it sets the tone for a game that is refreshingly self-aware. From there, you're free to gallop through a large, colorful world filled with bridges to rebuild, materials to gather, and new regions to uncover. The graphics are lovely, almost Breath of the Wild-like at times, and a soothing soundtrack makes it easy to lose hours just exploring. The quests are mostly fetch tasks and races, but they're varied enough to keep you busy. You also feed, groom, and pet your horses, with RPG-style stats like agility, endurance, and charisma affecting performance. Breeding and customization add a bit of depth, while the dynamic race leaderboards give the world some life. Still, the camera can be finicky, the controls take practice, and the game is not perfectly optimized. You'll notice shadows popping in, and the occasional stutter. But despite that, this is easily one of the best horse games around. It is charming, relaxing, and full of heart. If you've ever wanted to roam free with your horse in a gentle open world, this is your ride. At number 11 we have The Smurfs II, The Prisoner of the Greenstone, a sequel to the Smurfs Mission V-Leaf, offering another 3D platforming adventure with a colorful, engaging world. You'll start this journey as unlikely allies with Gargamel, the Smurfs' longtime foe, to repair the damage caused by breaking a magical green stone, which has unleashed chaos across the land. Gameplay focuses on using your trusty Smurfomics gun to clear the environment of crystal shards and solve light puzzles. The world is reasonably open, inviting you to explore hidden areas for extra resources and challenges. If you're into collecting and completion, there's plenty to find, from bellflowers to combat arenas hidden in the map's outskirts. Combat is a mixed bag. You'll face waves of enemies in increasingly intense battles, which might feel overwhelming at first. But, as you master the tools at your disposal, including Smurf-specific signature moves, you'll find satisfaction in blasting enemies away. Story mode offers an easier ride if the action gets too intense. The upgrade system adds depth, allowing you to enhance your abilities and weapons. However, you're sometimes limited by the availability of ammo, which can be frustrating if you favor one weapon over another. While technical issues like occasional crashes detract from the experience, the game's charm and gameplay depth still shine through. The Smurfs 2 is a surprisingly well-rounded platformer that both kids and adults can enjoy. At number 12 we have Garfield Lasagna Party, a game that delivers a nostalgic experience for fans of Garfield, featuring accurate 3D models and capturing the lazy, sarcastic essence of the beloved comic character. Everyone's favorite orange cat is back with friends for a feline-themed party. This game features a board game mode, accommodating up to 4 players, with AI filling in empty slots. However, the board game is criticized for being slow-paced and tedious, lacking the randomness and strategic depth found in titles like Mario Party. The heart of the game lies in its 32 minigames, offering a mixed bag of experiences. Highlights include TikTok, a strategic race involving passing an alarm clock, a simple yet enjoyable game. Some minigames, like Cat's Band and Super Cat, are praised for their charm and entertainment value, potentially surpassing Mario Party counterparts. Despite the plethora of enjoyable minigames, certain ones fall short, with frustrations arising from control issues and clunky mechanics. Third-person perspective controls feel disconnected and floaty in some games, impacting the overall experience. AI players exhibit inconsistencies, alternating between overly simplistic and frustratingly difficult, making the game more enjoyable in a multiplayer setting. Garfield Lasagna Party succeeds as a fun party game, with extensive selection of entertaining minigames capturing the essence of the Garfield franchise. While it has its flaws, particularly in controls and AI behavior, navigating around the clunkier elements ensures a tasty feast of multiplayer treats for you and your friends. At number 13 we have The Smurfs Village Party, a bright and cheerful mix of adventure and party gameplay, where you join Papa Smurf and friends to prepare for a massive village celebration. You'll explore a colorful open world, collect resources, and help other Smurfs with their tasks, all while trying to stop Gargamel from ruining the fun. On paper, it is a charming concept, but in practice, it's a little uneven. The game splits into 2 halves, Adventure Mode and Party Mode. In Adventure Mode, you explore freely, finding treasures, crafting costumes, and completing simple fetch quests. Once you finish a story, you unlock Party Mode, where up to 4 players can enjoy over 50 minigames together. These minigames are genuinely entertaining, vibrant, responsive, and packed with that Mario Party style energy. Whether you're racing, jumping, or testing your reflexes, the multiplayer fun really shines here. Unfortunately, the adventure side does not fare as well. The camera is clunky, textures are inconsistent, and you'll occasionally clip through scenery or get stuck on walls. The world looks cheerful, but feels rough around the edges, and the repetitive one-liners from the Smurfs will test your patience after a while. Still, the Smurfs Village Party has plenty of charm, especially if you're playing with kids or friends. The upbeat soundtrack, colorful visuals, and fun minigames make it a solid family experience. It is far from perfect, but if you can overlook the technical hiccups, you'll find a lighthearted party game worth attending. At number 14 we have Operation Wolf Returns, First Mission. This game revives the classic 1987 arcade rail shooter with modern visuals and VR support, delivering a fast-paced, nostalgic experience. You take on the role of an elite agent, battling a criminal organization armed with a devastating secret weapon. The game captures the explosive, over-the-top action of its predecessor, but struggles with execution. The gameplay is simple yet satisfying, offering a variety of weapons like Uzis, shotguns, and grenade launchers. The VR version adds immersion, allowing you to aim in any direction, but many players feel it was prioritized over traditional controls, making the non-VR experience less refined. Some weapons feel underwhelming, and aiming can feel awkward, especially without motion controls. Visually, the game adopts a comic book style aesthetic, which looks decent, but animations and effects can feel stiff. While the campaign is short, often beatable in under 2 hours, it offers a survival mode for extended play. Unfortunately, the lack of a co-op mode in VR and limited replayability hurt its longevity. One major complaint is enemy attacks coming from off-screen, forcing unavoidable damage. Combined with a sometimes clunky UI, this makes the experience frustrating. However, the game is fun in short bursts. If you're a fan of classic on-rails shooters, it might be worth grabbing in a bundle, but don't expect a groundbreaking remake. At number 15 we have Asterix and Obelix, Slap Them All 2, a side-scrolling beat-em-up. As the sequel to the original game, you once again take control of the famous Gauls, Asterix and Obelix, on a slap-filled adventure to clear an innocent man's name and recover the stolen Lutetia eagle. Visually, the game captures the charm of the classic comic books. The hand-drawn animation is smooth, and the environments feel like they've been lifted straight from the pages of Asterix. The story unfolds through animated cutscenes, bringing an extra layer of personality to the experience. The sound design is also solid, with satisfying slap effects, although the American voice acting might not be what you expect. Gameplay-wise, the combat is straightforward, relying heavily on a single attack, mapped to the X button. While traditional mechanics like a Fury meter and ultimate attacks add variety, the core experience quickly becomes repetitive. The lack of a dodge move makes evading projectiles frustrating, and progression often feels like a simple loop of tap X, move right. That said, 2-player couch co-op is a welcome feature, letting a friend join in for some chaotic fun. Asterix and Obelix Slap Them All 2 offers more of the same, without much innovation. If you enjoyed the first game, you'll find some fun here, but if you're looking for a deep and varied beat-em-up, there are better options. At number 16 we have Grand Mountain Adventure Wonderlands, a serene open-world skiing and snowboarding game where you explore vast, beautifully rendered mountain ranges, complete challenges, and unlock new slopes as you earn ski passes. On the surface, it feels like a relaxing downhill escape, but once you're actually flying down the mountain, it's more chaos than calm. You control a tiny skier from an isometric viewpoint, zipping down slopes that feel both liberating and perilous. The problem is that controls and fixed camera can turn every descent into an unintentional crash course. You'll often slide backward, misjudge turns, or slam into trees simply because you couldn't see them coming. Adjusting the input option helps a little, but it never feels truly intuitive. Still, there's an undeniable charm to the experience. The minimalist art style, soft lighting, and tilt-shift visuals give the mountains a postcard-like beauty. And when you're not cursing the camera, there's a genuine sense of peacefulness. The game's challenge structure, time trials, tricks, and exploration adds variety, though the fun tends to fade quickly as repetition sets in. There's humor tucked in too, like the absurd tip that smack other skiers can boost your speed. But the tone never fully commits to being either a realistic ski sim or a goofy snowbound romp. it's somewhere in between, never quite nailing either. Grand Mountain Adventure Wonderland is gorgeous and occasionally relaxing, but its clumsy controls and disjointed design keep it from achieving greatness. It is a chill ride, until it isn't. At number 17 we have Gear.Club Unlimited 2 Ultimate Edition, a game that attempts to expand its horizons by transitioning from a Switch-exclusive racing game to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox platforms, boasting all DLC bundled. The game introduces a career mode with dialogue and a performance shop for car upgrades, featuring over 50 licensed vehicles and a tiered championship system that offers a reasonable sense of progression. However, despite its promising aspects, the game is plagued by numerous flaws. Glitches are rampant, such as rival cars disappearing and reappearing randomly during races, undermining the overall experience. Endurance races prove problematic as tires degrade too quickly, and AI difficulty fluctuates unpredictably, diminishing the challenge. The game's child-friendly nature and forgiving mechanics, like a rewind button and the lack of damage, may appeal to younger players but undermine the overall sense of consequences. The controls, particularly turning mechanics, receive harsh criticism for their lack of finesse and sudden, jarring responsiveness. Track design is deemed poor, featuring excessive roundabouts and questionable road layouts. For the full price of the game, Gear.Club Unlimited 2 Ultimate Edition is deemed an outright disappointment, but it may be worth it in a bundle. The porting to the PC and larger consoles is criticized as a mistake due to its shoddy implementation and persistent issues. At number 18 we have MARSUPILAMI HOOBADVENTURE, a charming platformer that revives a lesser-known comic book character for a new audience. MARSUPILAMI HOOBADVENTURE blends influences from Rayman Legends and Donkey Kong Country, delivering a colorful, accessible experience for kids while still offering enough challenge to keep adults entertained. The game's unique feature is its art direction. Levels burst with vibrant colors, and every critter feels lovingly designed, as if they could star in their own animated film. MARSUPILAMI himself, tail and all, is animated with grace and personality. Level design is another highlight. Each stage offers secrets tucked away behind obstacles that serve as both hazards and opportunities, rewarding exploration with feathers, bonus areas, and dojo challenge rooms. These optional collectibles let you set your own difficulty. Younger players can breeze through, while you can push for mastery if you want the extra test. That flexibility makes the game surprisingly engaging across different age groups. That said, it does not reinvent the genre. Much of it feels heavily inspired by Ubisoft's Rayman, and once you gather hundreds of fruits, the incentive to keep collecting fades. Extra lives pile up quickly, lessening their value. The campaign is also short, clocking in at roughly 4 hours, with 20 main levels and 3 bosses, which may feel thin or short and sweet. Still, if you're looking for a family-friendly platformer that looks gorgeous, plays smoothly, and hides plenty of secrets, you'll be pleasantly surprised. MARSUPILAMI HOOBADVENTURE may not be groundbreaking, but it is undeniably fun. At number 19 we have Syberia III, the third entry into the Syberia game series. If you bought this game when it was first released, it would have been 13 years since the last release of the second game. Syberia III doesn't provide any recap, so you'll have to figure out what's happening on your own. The story follows Kate Walker, who embarks on an aimless journey to help the Yokel, a group of diminutive nomads migrating with their snow ostriches. She's also running her law firm and a private investigator, which adds to the confusing mess of a story. Along the way, she meets an array of trite characters, including evil hypnotists, a curmudgeonly inventor, a drunk ship captain, and a whole race of noble savages. The writing exacerbates the problem, as the dialogue is full of bizarre word choices, appalling delivery, and occasionally even wrong information. While the game tries to do interesting things with dialogue, allowing you to choose Kate's tone and pick options to manipulate characters, the move to 3D has done the game no favors. The environments are often plain and ugly, and navigating them is a terrible chore. Even the puzzles, which involve satisfyingly mechanical and mostly logical conundrums, suffer from notable problems and bugs. Overall, Syberia III feels creaky, dated, and surprisingly rushed. At number 20 we have Syberia II, a point-and-click adventure game. The game is the sequel to the successful Syberia, and continues the story of New York lawyer Kate Walker on her quest to find the mythical land of Syberia. The gameplay is similar to the first game, with no chance of getting stuck or getting murdered, so there's no need to worry about constantly saving progress. The focus is on the story and puzzles, with Kate exploring the snowy wastelands of the east and interacting with people and objects to progress through the game. The puzzles in Syberia II are a good mix of logical and complicated challenges, with the balance being just right so they don't become too difficult to solve. However, there are some areas that require unnecessary backtracking, which can slow down the pace of the game. The graphics are beautiful for its age, but there are some compatibility issues with modern PCs, which can be solved by resizing the desktop resolution. Overall, Syberia II is an enjoyable experience, but is not recommended to play without having played the first game. While there's a recap video available, it's better to experience the full story to fully appreciate the sequel. At number 21, we have Syberia, the first entry into the Syberia series of point-and-click adventure games. The game follows the story of Kate Walker, a lawyer sent to Valladolid to oversee the transfer of an automaton toy factory. The game starts off a bit slow, but the story becomes more intriguing as Kate discovers an heir who has gone missing, and sets out to find him. Along the way, she must solve puzzles, help various characters, and escape danger. The gameplay is classic point-and-click, with beautiful scenes to explore and items to collect. The puzzles are challenging and satisfying to solve, although some require backtracking, which can be tedious. The visuals are impressive for the time, and the music is especially noteworthy, with melancholy strings and masterful scores that enhances the game's old-world charm. However, one downside to the modern digital versions of Syberia is that it crashes in higher resolution, which can be frustrating for players. Overall, Syberia is a timeless masterpiece, and a genre-defining game that any fan of the adventure, puzzle genre, or story-driven games should consider playing. If you're a fan of point-and-click adventure games, Syberia is definitely worth checking out. At number 22, we have Arkanoid: Eternal Battle, a modern twist on a classic brick-breaking formula. You control a paddle, bounce a ball, and shatter walls of colorful blocks. Simple, right? But this time, it adds a surprising twist. A battle royale mode where up to 25 players compete to be the last one standing. It's a bold attempt to modernize a decades-old arcade classic, and while the idea works, the execution doesn't always keep up. You get 3 modes to choose from: the faithful classic arcade version, the revamped Neo mode with updated visuals and puzzles, and the big draw, Eternal Battle. The latter plays a lot like Tetris 99, where you destroy bricks, rack up points, and survive as other players get eliminated one by one. The core gameplay remains as crisp as ever, responsive, tight, and easy to learn, but finding actual human opponents can be tough. The lack of players means you'll most likely be battling bots, which works fine mechanically but lacks the chaotic thrill of live competition. Visually, the game is clean but unremarkable. It has that sleek sci-fi aesthetic that fits the vibe but doesn't exactly pop. The soundtrack, bleeps, bloops, and synthy beats, does its job, though it won't stick in your head for long. Arkanoid: Eternal Battle deserves credit for innovation. It nails the classic feel and introduces clever new modes, but without an active player base, the fun fizzles out fast. You'll enjoy it for a while, until the servers feel like a ghost town. At number 7 we have, at number 23 we have Syberia Remastered, a modern rebirth of Benoit Sokol's beloved point-and-click classic, inviting you to return to a world where clockwork dreams and snow-covered mysteries intertwine. You step into the shoes of Kate Walker, a young lawyer sent to finalize a business deal that spirals into an extraordinary journey across Europe. Along the way, you'll meet Oscar, a mechanical automaton with surprising charm, and together, chase the elusive inventor Hans Vorarlberg through breathtaking, melancholic landscapes. This remastered edition stays faithful to Sokol's original version, while elevating every detail. You'll rediscover Valladolid's intricate architecture, its ticking gears, and frozen railways, now brought to life in richly enhanced 3D. Every character, object, and environment has been carefully reimagined to preserve the art direction that made Syberia iconic while adding the visual polish modern players expect. The puzzles, an essential part of the journey, have been reworked to flow more intuitively, making your path of discovery smoother without losing the mechanical intrigue that defines the series. Improved navigation, updated controls, and a modernized interface ensure that the experience feels timeless rather than dated. Beyond the mechanics, Syberia Remastered remains a deeply emotional story. What begins as a legal assignment slowly transforms into a meditation on purpose, memory, and the wonder of invention. As you travel from alpine towns to the icy frontiers of eastern Russia, you'll rediscover why Syberia became one of adventure gaming's most poetic and enduring tales. a mechanical dream reborn for a generation. Just note that this bundle gives you a 15% off coupon as opposed to the game itself. And that's all for this bundle. For old school adventure fans, this bundle hits like a nostalgia bomb. You've got Little Big Adventure Remake, Amerzone, and the Syberia trilogy all bundled together for less than their usual price. That alone makes it worth it. Sure, some of the extras are filler, but when you're paying pocket change per game, who cares? If you grew up on 90s PC classics, or just want to see what made that era special, this one's an easy pickup. In any case, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if this video was helpful, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and maybe consider buying the channel a coffee. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.